What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Jimmy Mullen podcast. Since Halloween is around the corner, I figured I'd spice things up a little bit. This is my costume this year. I'm Argyle from Stranger Things. I have a wig, as my hair unfortunately is not the length, and I definitely think I wouldn't go as far as growing my hair out like Argyle's, but I do have a wig. I just couldn't figure it out, and I really wanted to get this episode out, as I have not gotten an episode out in the last week or two. So I do apologize. I've just been crazy busy with work and all sorts of stuff. I'm not sure if I mentioned this already, but I did get a new job, so it's taking up a lot of my time. But I've also been getting out more. I went to a Hatebreed concert the other night with some friends of mine, of course, Thomas and Jake, who have been on the podcast, along with Thomas's friend Shane, who I met, along with seeing some people, some familiar faces like Aaron and Jules. They'll be on the podcast at some point. But yeah, I'm going to get right into things. I'm going to be talking about all sorts of stuff today. Some rapid fire stuff with trailers for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Guardians of the Galaxy has a holiday special coming out. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania got its first trailer, along with a new trailer for Sonic Prime, the Netflix series, and a release date for that. So that's pretty exciting. I'll also be talking about my thoughts on Henry Cavill returning as live-action DC Superman. It's going to be really awesome. Harrison Ford has officially joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is something I was not expecting, but I will gladly take. James Gunn and Peter Safran are now the heads of DC Studios, which is a new film division specifically dedicated to making DC films, which is something I figured was a thing already, but it somehow wasn't. So that's pretty awesome. Also, of course, the Super Mario Brothers movie trailer. I know the news is a couple weeks old at this point, but I can't not talk about that. Like, let's be honest here. I'll also be talking about Charlie Puth's new album, Charlie, which also dropped earlier this month. And yes, this is a little late, but I wanted to talk about Poland by Lil Yachty, because I think that song is hilarious. And yeah, I'm actually going to move this light over just a little bit because that is hurting my eyes. It's like shining right into my eyes as I record this. I'm not sure if there's a better position to put this in. You know what? I'm actually going to move it right to the other side. I had another one here. I got these little light things like 2 years ago. I cannot get the battery compartment open on this thing. The screw is a really shitty screw, and the batteries are dead in this one. If I turn it like a little bit, you can kind of see some light, but the switch on this thing makes it turn automatically, and then it's got like these strobe light things. I thought it was pretty cool, so I don't really have many Halloween decorations of my own, so I thought I'd just pull those out, and I wanted to get both lights going, but unfortunately that's not going to happen today. So before I get into all those big topics, though, I did want to talk about some things that have come up since the last episode. For one, my good friend Schemeliam has just dropped a new single. It's called Park. It's about going to the park and just having some fun, doing stuff that you do at a park. I know that's a terrible way to sell the song, but I apologize. But it's a good song. You should check it out. It also features a little thing from myself, similar to the song McChicken that had me as a radio anchor. We kind of got the same thing going with this song, and we're going to do a similar thing with other songs going forward. So stay tuned. But you should totally go stream Park. It's available now. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, pretty much anywhere you can stream music. It's out there, so go check it out. Also, I've posted 2 vlogs since the last podcast, which is pretty crazy. I finally got my Outer Banks vlog out. It's out now. You should check it out. It ties in with episode 39 of the podcast, which featured John and Mike, and we talked about the trip and all that. So you get to see a bit of that trip in the vlog. So yeah, that's out. You should check it out. I'd really appreciate it if you did so. Also, I uploaded it before the Outer Banks vlog, but I figured I'd talk about it after. I did a vlog of my little experience going to the Nintendo New York store in New York City to watch the Super Mario Brothers movie trailer with a bunch of Nintendo fans. I also got to hang out with Alex C&D and Jacobs, Ocarina, and Irving afterwards. You should go check out that video. It's a fun one. And while you're at it, you should check out my reaction to the trailer from the Nintendo New York store. It's sitting at almost 2,000 views, which is pretty crazy. So if you've come from that video, I just want to say thank you for sticking around. I'd also like to mention that we are nearing 50 episodes, which is something that I was not sure I was going to reach, especially this soon. So yeah, almost 50 episodes. We're getting pretty close to that mark. I do have a plan in place for that episode. I do have a specific guest that I'm getting on for episode 50. That one has just not been recorded yet, as this is only episode 47, but we are nearing it. So get excited. That one's going to be a pretty good one, I will say. But anyway, that's it for the introduction stuff. Be sure to go check out my vlogs after you're done listening to this podcast. So without further ado, let's get into some of the more quick thoughts on stuff. I threw a few movie trailers in here and things like that. Black Panther Wakanda Forever got a second trailer, and the premiere also took place. Everyone's saying the movie's great. I'm really excited to go see it. I think it's showing a little too much, though, in the trailers. I'm kind of getting to a point where I don't really want to watch movie trailers anymore because they give away too much about the movie in the trailers. So, yeah, I'm just gonna say that. It looks great, though. I like the look of the movie. I think Namor is going to be a great villain, or whatever the case is with him in the movie. If he's even a villain, I'm not even sure, to be honest. But yeah, that's a thing. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania got its first trailer, and I'm honestly really excited for this movie. The CGI looks crazy. And yeah, it's kind of like, oh, they're just walking around on a green screen. But who cares? What'd you expect? It's a sci-fi movie. You can't really be that mad. It's a movie exploring the quantum realm. Did you really expect it to all be practical effects? Do you think they'd be able to pull that off? Especially with the amount of content they've got coming out so much nowadays. They're kind of being stretched thin. I could talk about that forever. But anyway, the movie looks great. I'm really excited. I've always been a fan of Ant-Man. I love Paul Rudd. I love both of the Ant-Man movies. I know Ant-Man and the Wasp is like hated by a lot of people, but I didn't think it was terrible. Definitely not my favorite MCU movie. I think at one point I said I liked it more than Black Panther, and I don't think I do anymore. But yeah, I'm sure this will be a better movie than the first two. The stakes are a lot higher in this film. It introduces the main villain of this entire saga, Kang the Conqueror. I mean, we got introduced to a variant of him in Loki, but there's like a million different variants of this character. So, yeah, this movie's going to tie into Kang Dynasty. It's going to lead up to like the big end battle. It's going to be like the new end game kind of. So, yeah, really excited for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I can't wait for it. Kang looks incredible. Bill frickin' Murray is in this movie too. I didn't even say that. But yeah, it looks really exciting, and I can't wait for it. It comes out February 17th, I believe. And I will be in that theater watching that movie when it drops, because I love Ant-Man, and I love these movies. I don't care. Everyone's like, oh, they're so bad now. I don't think they're that bad. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special also got its trailer. It's coming out November 25th. It's going to be the second special presentation from Marvel Studios that they're putting out on Disney+. And it looks like now they're looking to make more of those instead of turning some things into full-fledged series and like stretching them out. They're like kind of narrowing it down to these like hour-long or 50-minute specials. I have not seen Werewolf by Night yet, but I've heard good things. I'm going to probably watch it before you see the next episode, because I do plan on talking about that, as well as She-Hulk. I was initially planning on talking about She-Hulk in this one, but I figured I'll just save that for an episode that I can, flesh it out more and talk about my thoughts on the show as a whole and go into each episode. I figured if I threw that in here, it would have been too long. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. The special itself, though, I'm really excited for it. It looks like a lot of fun. I think this is like just what we need from something like, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Of course, like if anyone's going to get a holiday special in the MCU, I think the Guardians of the Galaxy make the most sense in regards to that. Looks like a great time. It's them going to Earth to celebrate Christmas, and I think that's great. So yeah, that's that. Kevin Bacon's in it too. Maybe it makes me wonder, does he know that there's a villain in the Fox X-Men universe that looks just like him? Who knows? It's stuff like this that gets me really excited about the fact that Disney Plus exists, because obviously they're not going to throw this in a movie theater, and they're not going to throw it on like ABC. So if you can throw it on a streaming platform, I think that's great. I love stuff like this. I love little fun things. I wish more things in media did this more often. I wish we got more holiday specials for things, even if they don't make sense. I don't care. Just give us some fun stuff. I think people just, look at the Star Wars holiday special and they're like, oh, that was fucking terrible. Let's never do that. But people, you can totally be capable of making something great as long as you got the right people behind it. And I think the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special is going to be something just like that, and I can't wait. Also, just before I started recording this, we got a new trailer for Sonic Prime, which is the new animated Netflix series that's coming out. It got a release date of December 15th, along with a bunch of posters, bunch of character posters highlighting Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Eggman, Shadow, Big the Cat. Rouge the Bat is also in the show pretty prominently, so that's pretty cool. We don't really see her much nowadays. The show's set in an alternate dimension of some sort. Looks like there's some kind of accident when they're fighting Eggman, and Sonic gets sent to an alternate dimension where Eggman's like this supreme ruler, and Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Rouge lead like a rebellion or something, and then Sonic meets these variants of his friends, and they have to try to save the day. That's kind of the idea I got from the trailer. It looks pretty promising. I'm honestly pretty excited for it. Anything Sonic really will get me hyped. Sometimes I'm pretty disappointed by the results, but that isn't always the case. I'm hoping Sonic Frontiers is good too. I have that on pre-order. I will be playing it when it drops, and I'll let you guys know what I think after I play it. But yeah, Sonic Prime looks awesome. This has been in talks for a couple of years now, and now it's finally coming out. And considering that it's Netflix, we're probably going to get the whole season in one shebang. So I'll check it out when it drops, and you'll probably see a podcast discussing it in December. So stay tuned, I guess. Okay, I'm going to talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie trailer now, because I'm honestly so excited for it. Let's just get started with it. So 2 days before the trailer itself, we got an announcement that a Nintendo Direct would be happening at specifically 4:05 p.m., so 5 minutes after the 4 p.m. premiere date. Jesus Christ, I just shook the table. The 5 minutes after the time being 4 p.m. at New York Comic Con when they were premiering the trailer. I guess that's just so they can get everyone in the thing and then have the Nintendo Direct take place for everyone at the same time. I'm pretty sure that's how it went down. I don't think they just started it at 4 p.m. At Comic-Con. I didn't go to Comic-Con personally, so I can't say. But I was at the Nintendo New York store with a bunch of Nintendo fans watching it, and that was actually my first time ever at an event like that at the Nintendo store. I'd been to the store plenty of times in the past, just going to shop and look around and play some demos and stuff, but I was never there for like any Nintendo Directs or any E3s or anything like that, because I was a little kid, and every other time I couldn't get into the city. But I figured, it's middle of the day. I didn't have work. I have money now, thankfully, so I was able to take a train out to the city and watch the trailer with a bunch of Nintendo fans, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. But about the trailer itself, I wasn't sure what to expect going in. Of course, Nintendo being Nintendo, they're very picky with companies they partner up with, especially with making a movie. They made, the Mario Brothers movie came out in 1993, and it was a disaster. So I think Nintendo just got scared, and we're like, yeah, I don't know if we want to put our IPs on the big screen. But I guess now they finally changed their mind, and if they want to do it, they're going to be heavily involved with the production. And I mean, I don't blame them. They really don't want people to mess up Mario, and because it's happened before. And especially with Illumination being behind it, I also wasn't sure because their track record's kind of hit or miss. They've had some pretty good movies, some kind of bad movies, or movies that were like just kind of subpar and nothing to really write home about, or just movies that suck, like the first Minions movie, or Hop. The one time they made a live action movie and it was fucking terrible. When the direct started and Chris Pratt came on the screen and he talked about stomping Koopas, you could tell he wasn't sure what the hell he was talking about. People were like, "Oh, he's not a real Mario fan." Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. I don't really care. I just thought it was kind of funny. Nintendo's heavily involved, and honestly, that might be the saving grace of this movie. It's their character. They know what they're doing, with their own characters, and they're really strict about things you can and can't do. But yeah, I honestly, the movie looks fucking beautiful. I've noticed, like, especially in the last couple years, like Illumination, like, yeah, their movies may be subpar, but like animation wise, detail wise, they've started to look a lot better. Especially after going to see Minions: The Rise of Gru in theaters. That movie, while it wasn't the greatest film ever made, it looked amazing. Like the animation, the polishing of all the characters, and all the look of the city and everything looked great. So having that team behind the Mario movie, it might look beautiful, and honestly, it does. It looks amazing. The entire trailer just looked incredible. Jack Black is amazing as the voice of Bowser. He's very menacing. There's even there's a lot of callbacks from older Mario games. It's not going to be like this really generic movie that's very flat and all that. It looks like they're kind of exploring all sorts of things in the Mario universe, because we've got the penguins from Mario 64 and other Mario Kart games and stuff. They're a part of Sherbert Land from Mario Kart 64. That was in Mario Kart Wii. The penguins have been in other things as well, but I think they're most known for Mario 64 in particular. That's kind of the vibe that I got when I started watching the trailer. Seeing, there's a bit of comedy in there too. You got to have some comedy in there. You can't just, make it like a straight up action movie. You got to have some funny bits in there. It's a kid's movie. And, they definitely did show that. The penguins looked all menacing, and then they start throwing the snowballs, and it's like, oh, wow. This has no effect on the Koopa army. But yeah, it looked great, that first part. And then we get into Mario. And I will say, you can see in my reaction, I was going like, it's okay. He was talking about how, when he first was announced to be the voice of Mario, he was like, I've really done something great with this voice. He was kind of building it up like it was this whole thing, but it's like, no, he kind of just sounds like Chris Pratt with a Brooklyn accent. Like, I don't know, it was kind of underwhelming, but honestly, I wasn't sure what to expect. I figured he wasn't going to have like the, Italian accent and all that it was going to, people were probably like, oh, it would have been so annoying. That's why they didn't cast Charles Martinet, I guess. I wish they did, though, in all honesty, but, Hollywood does what Hollywood does, and they have celebrities voice their characters because for some reason they think that's going to drive ticket sales. But time and time again, we've seen that doesn't really happen. Also because marketing sucks with half of those movies too. That's a whole other topic. But yeah, I think it kind of seems like an homage to the Super Mario Brothers Super Show from what I've seen. I kind of get that vibe. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad is great. I love Keegan-Michael Key. So to see him like a part of this is awesome. Luigi also got teased at the end. He's in some kind of haunted lava world kind of thing. I guess him and Mario got separated or something. Like maybe they went down this warp pipe and they got separated. Luigi's dealing with a bunch of ghosts and dry bones and stuff, and Mario's over in the Mushroom Kingdom. And it looks like he doesn't know what it is. So maybe it starts out they're in like Brooklyn or New Donk City or something, and then they get transported into the Mushroom Kingdom. I guess we'll have to find out when the movie comes out. But overall, the movie looks fucking beautiful. I'm so excited for it. It comes out April 7th. I will most definitely be there opening night. Maybe I'll go all out, dress up. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Harrison Ford is officially joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is a question that people have jokingly asked for a number of years, because it seems like now like everyone wants to be a part of a Marvel movie, at least from what it seems to show. You know, more and more movies come out. You see all these celebrities that you would never think would be in a movie like this. But like I said before, Bill Murray is in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So anything is possible. So Harrison Ford has officially been cast as Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, who was played by William Hurt in previous films, The Incredible Hulk, Captain America Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. He unfortunately passed away not too long ago. So I guess it's not like a similar situation with Chadwick Boseman where like they didn't want to recast him. And I guess they wanted to recast him because I guess they have a bunch of plans for this character going forward. I mean, he's going to be in 2 movies. He's set to star in Captain America New World Order and The Thunderbolts, which pretty much come out back to back. So we're seeing a lot of Harrison Ford in Marvel in 2024, which is pretty exciting, honestly. Thunderbolt Ross, I know in the comics, becomes the Red Hulk. So maybe we'll see Harrison Ford, Red Hulk. If that is the case, though, honestly, I don't really see him doing like the motion capture and stuff like that. He'll probably just do the voice or something, and someone else will do it, and they'll just put his face on the Red Hulk or something like that. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, it's super exciting. He'll probably be asked about this the rest of his life. But it is what it is, I guess. Like I said, they must have big plans for this character moving forward. And with Chadwick Boseman passing away, they said they're not going to recast T'Challa because they want this character to, have a legacy and all that. I guess Thunderbolt Ross isn't like a really like important driving character like the Black Panther is. So I guess it doesn't hurt to really recast him. And recasting happens all the time anyway. We've even seen it now with Ant-Man 3. The actress for Cassie Lang in Endgame isn't coming back. We got Catherine Newton instead, and she's great in all the things that she's in. So, I mean, it's not too much of a disappointment. But yeah, I mean, if it means Harrison Ford is in the MCU, then I'm all for it. I don't care who he plays. Henry Cavill is returning as Superman in the DCEU. This came to us. I have not seen Black Adam yet, but supposedly in the post-credit scene, they kind of tease Superman, and it's been everywhere now. Henry Cavill made an announcement himself on his social media. He's officially back as Superman in the live-action DC movies. Man of Steel dropped in 2013, so it's been about 10 years since that movie's come out. He went on to appear in Batman v Superman, and then he was in Justice League. And, after the result of that movie, they kind of, changed what they wanted to do. Then new people at DC came in. They wanted to reboot Superman and all that. And, there was all this back and forth. And now there's even more new people at Warner Brothers. Different things have been switched around. And, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he plays Black Adam. He was really pushing for Superman to come back because he wanted to fight Superman or whatever. And honestly, I mean, if they bring back Superman now, and they kind of just said like the Snyderverse isn't really what they want to do. So if they are going to make another Superman movie, which I can't imagine they're not going to do, they're going to do it. It might be some kind of soft reboot, honestly. I don't really see them continuing the story that they were setting up in the Snyderverse because they kind of axed that. They're like, yeah, no, this isn't what we want to do. So, we still have Aquaman, we still have Wonder Woman played by the same people. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm not really sure what they're going to do with that. The DC movie timeline and universe thing has been kind of confusing with like, what's still okay and what's not because they're bringing back certain actors. I don't know. Like, it's a whole mess, and I it's kind of made me just like not care, because I'm just so lost, honestly, with like what's going forward and what isn't, because it seems to change on a dime like every day. Ben Affleck saying he wasn't coming back as Batman, now he is. It's a whole mess, but yeah, I'm excited though. I like Henry Cavill as Superman. I love Man of Steel. I think it's a great film. So I'm really excited to see the character again. I thought he was a really great part of Batman v Superman. I thought he was great for what he was in Justice League, despite the CGI over the mustache. I thought that was a little goofy, but yeah, really excited for Henry Cavill to return as Superman. Speaking of DC, James Gunn, who I mentioned, I'm not, honestly, I don't even remember whether or not I mentioned it, but of course he is directing the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. He's also going to be directing Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And after that, he's headed over to DC. If you don't even know the whole story, back in like, I don't know, 2018 or 20, no, it was like 20, it had to be 2018 or 2019. He was fired from, being the director of Guardians of the Galaxy after a bunch of old tweets resurfaced where he kind of course, made some, insensitive jokes and all that. And, of course, he does not stand by those jokes, but Marvel didn't care, or Disney, rather, and they made Kevin Feige give him the phone call, like, yeah, bro, you're fired. So he was like, well, shit. And then DC called him up, and they were like, hey, do you want to make a movie with us? And he was like, absolutely. He pretty much was given free reign to do whatever he wanted, and he decided on a new Suicide Squad movie, so kind of a sequel to the 2016 one, and that released in 2021, and I loved it. It was a great film. I thought it was one of the better DC movies that has come out in the last few years, especially outside of Joker and the Batman, as those are like separate things. But yeah, Suicide Squad was great, the new one. And now he's going to be running the reins at DC. They have that much faith in him, and I don't blame them. He's a great director. It's not only him, though. Peter Safran, along with James Gunn, will be the heads of this new studio division that they're making called DC Studios, which is kind of like the Marvel Studios of DC. And James Gunn is pretty much going to be the Kevin Feige that runs this, along with Peter Safran. Peter Safran has been running the Conjuring universe the last couple of years, so he's been involved with those movies along with all the spin-offs, so the Annabelle movies, the Nun movies, and overall that franchise has been doing pretty good from what I've seen. I've honestly never seen the spin-offs. I've heard mixed things about all of them. I know some of them are good, some of them are better. I also was not the biggest fan of the third movie compared to the first two Conjurings. I love the first two Conjurings. I think they're great. Third one was okay, I guess, but didn't really hit as hard. But, I mean, he does a good enough job there, so, I mean, they want him to be head of DC. I think he'll do a good job. And with James Gunn helping out as well, James Gunn's amazing. He'll do a great job. From what it looks like, he'll be in control of the DCEU for the most part, so anything that's associated with, the characters like Wonder Woman and Aquaman, and, part of like that film universe. So Shazam, Black Adam, all that stuff. So that will not, it will not include the Todd Phillips Joker movies. Those are their own separate thing that are under watch of other people, along with the Matt Reeves Batman movies and stuff that will come in the future. Those are being oversaw by other people. So this will specifically be DCEU. They also mentioned television and animation, so I guess anything that falls under that, James Gunn will have a hand in regards to overseeing, which I think is pretty cool. Not only that, but he's also been signed exclusively for 4 years for directing for the DC universe, which is pretty crazy. And after those 4 years, if he loves to continue to do it, they might sign him on for 8 years or another 4 years or whatever they decide to do. He'll also be able to step in to direct once in a while. So if he wants to direct a project, he can do that. And with the way things have been going, Warner Brothers, they want to focus on the heavy hitters that they know will make money. That's kind of been what the new CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery has been saying. He's really highlighting Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, especially those three characters, because those are like the three most popular DC superheroes. But at the same time, with James Gunn directing the Suicide Squad movie, which was a bit of a not as well known movie. He could have made a Superman movie, he could have made a Batman movie, but he chose the Suicide Squad. So, I mean, if someone like him is like the guy running the show, what's to say that he can't be like, oh, I want to make a movie about, I don't know, Hawk Girl or something like that. He could make that happen, as long as he gets approval, of course. But I mean, why would they say no? They know that he can make good movies, so like, why would they tell him no? Like, let's be honest here. He still has the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special and Guardians 3 to do for Marvel per contract, and those are also in the middle of being worked on anyway. But once that's over, he's headed over to DC, and I wish him the best of luck. And it's crazy to think that, if some fan hadn't gone crazy and went through his tweets from 10 plus years ago and got him fired, he'd probably still be working at Marvel, making the next 6 Guardians of the Galaxy movies. But now he's working with Marvel's direct competitor and making really good movies for them. So, yeah, it's crazy how that works. I'm really excited. I'm really hoping that this turns out great. I'm sure it will. And I can't wait to see all the crazy decisions he makes over the next few years. And stay tuned for this podcast, where I'll most likely be talking about all that when it happens. That's it for all the movie and superhero stuff. Let's talk about my thoughts on some new music projects that have come out. For one, Charlie Puth just dropped a new album. It's called Charlie. People fucking hate this guy, and I think he gets too much hate, honestly. While some criticisms of his music are valid, I think people just go a little too hard, where they're like, I fucking hate this guy, he makes really shitty music. It's like, bro, calm down. You could just change the station. You could change the song. It's pop music. There's a lot of pop music out there. I'm sorry, but I like him. I like his music. I love his. You cannot deny his vocal range and his talent. It's totally there. He's a good artist. Shut up. I love every track from his previous album, Voice Notes, which came out in 2018. I thought that was a great album. I still listen to a majority of those tracks on my main playlist to this day. And after nearly 5 years, it came out in what was it, like March of 2018, the last album. It's now October of 2022, and we finally got a new Charlie Puth project. We've gotten a couple singles over the years, and him being featured in like motion pictures and stuff, like having a song in there. Like he had a song in Scoob, he had a song in The One and Only Ivan. Probably a couple other things I'm missing. The coolest thing about this project is that it was made entirely in his little music studio, I guess he has in his house, which was all. It started during the quarantine dark days that we all faced, and it finally became this big music project, which only has one feature as well, being from one of the singles, Left and Right, featuring Jungkook of BTS. Some songs hit especially different for me. The songs That's Hilarious and No More Drama are some pretty heavy hitters for your boy. But in all honesty, looking at the track list and then the amount of singles he dropped beforehand, I feel like he should have saved more for the album. There were a couple songs he dropped, a couple months beforehand. The song Light Switch came out in January. The song That's Hilarious came out in like May or June. I can't remember off the top of my head. But then like right before the album dropped, he dropped like 3 songs, which I thought was like, oh, come on, man. I mean, the album is like 12 tracks, and you dropped like half of them before the album, like right before the album drops. I don't know. I feel like it kind of dies down the hype a little bit, at least in my opinion. I wasn't complaining though. I was listening to Charlie music, but I feel like he should have saved some more. That way, I had a lot more to listen to when the album dropped, at least for songs that I hadn't heard before. I will say though, these songs do sound a little formulaic. They kind of have the same vibe going for each of them, despite the other than the fact that the notes are different. You have like the build up and then the chorus and then the key change towards the end for some of them. I don't know. I feel like it seems a little more noticeable this time around. Maybe that's just me. I was kind of getting vibes from, previous albums, and I'm not complaining. I love those songs, and he delivers some good stuff, in this album. But like I said, I feel like it's just a little too formulaic. But I will always be able to appreciate Charlie's talent of recognizing notes and making anything into music, like the song "No More Drama," like the little like that part in the beginning. That was a door that he creaked open and turned into music. Like, this man will just turn random sounds into music, and I guess that was the whole thing with this TikTok made album that he called it, because he put the process up on TikTok. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I just wish he'd put more into it and get over all these women that have fucked him over. Yeah, heartbreak fucking sucks. I've been there. But come on, man. There's so many other things you could make music about. Still bangers though. And yeah, it looks like I Warned Myself, Cheating on You, Mother, Girlfriend, and Hard on Yourself featuring Black Bear. Those songs are going to be singles forever now. They're not a part of any Charlie albums, unfortunately. Maybe we'll get a singles collection album similar to what Britney Spears put out a few years back. Guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I did enjoy the album overall. I love pretty much every song on there. Other than some of them sounding a bit formulaic, I think overall the project was pretty great. And finally, let's end things off by talking about the Walk to Poland by Lil Yachty. This song initially started out as a snippet he dropped, and it blew the fuck up overnight. It was right when that thing dropped, I saw meme after meme after meme about this song. And it reminded me so much of especially Lil Yachty's music from 2016 and how much people vibed with a lot of those songs. And we're getting a little bit of feel with this new song. Thankfully, he was able to put it out on streaming within the week to be able to capitalize on it as much as he could. Because initially it was just a little snippet he dropped, and it was in the middle of the week when he finally dropped it. I guess he had to go through loops with his record label, but he was finally able to put it out, and it's a minute long, but I don't care. Quality over quantity. It's a goofy song. It's a goofy, fun song, and that's what I love about Lil Yachty. I've always loved him as an artist. I think he's great, and if this leads to a whole new project with stuff similar to what we got here, then I'm all for it. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for everything I have to discuss today. One of the next solo episodes I will be discussing, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on She-Hulk along with Werewolf by Night, so stay tuned for that one. That should be out within the next week. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, and be sure to follow the podcast on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I've also got the podcast on audio platforms. If you're coming from an audio platform, you should go on the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. And now you can go to youtube.com/Jimmy Mullen Podcast, and it goes right to my channel, since I was given the ability to have a custom URL when I hit 100 subs on here. So thank you for making that possible. But with that said, yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up. I hope you guys have a great Halloween if you celebrate. Be sure to watch some scary movies or something, whether it's a movie you haven't seen or watch one of your favorites. Let me know in the comments how you're celebrating Halloween this year, if you do. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.